One failed job interview led me here. It's the reason why I created a platform to help other hairstylists that have been behind the chair, looking to get behind the chair, or trying to find their way behind the chair. I'm going to tell y'all everything that you need to know about being in this industry and sharing my experience. And you know what? I'm actually glad that it happened, because then I wouldn't be here. Do you want to know what happened? Fine, I'll tell you. But first, my name's Victoria. I'm a 13-year hair vet, and I'm just sick of it all. So I created this platform, the Grit and Glamour podcast, where I'm going to help you ambitious, outgoing, brave woman, succeed in this industry. I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm an open book, and I'm here to share. And if you're ready to learn, stick with me. A couple months ago, I'll tell you what happened because I'm a little bit messy. A couple months ago, I went to a job interview. My salon needed a little bit of money, and I wanted to pump a little bit of money into it. And I said to myself, I'm going to go get a second job, which we'll talk about at another day why that probably wasn't the best idea, but whatever. And I said to myself, I've been fortunate and I have been blessed enough to have been behind the chair, and I've had stylists look out for me. They have spoke life into me. They've been there to teach me and help me along the way. And this is now my time to give back. So I went to this interview, and this interview was terrible. It was terrible. Probably one of the worst interviews I think that I have ever been on. But I said to myself, no, I'm here to help the next generation of hairstylists. After they completely ghosted me, which I thought was completely rude. Like, you said that you would call even if I didn't get the job. They did not. And so I said to myself, the information that I have, the things that I want to share, the knowledge that I know, I don't have to wait on anyone to be able to share those things. I can do that on my own. Hence why I'm here. So, like I said, I'm going to teach you everything that I know about this industry. Now, here's the thing. If you do not have thick skin, tap out now, okay? You have to have a sense of delusion that is almost unreal. And one thing that I will say that we will get more into in this channel is I'm going to break down all the different ways that you can make money if you choose to be in the salon specifically. Of course, you can travel. Of course, you can do a plethora of things. Honestly, your license really is a golden ticket to be able to explore whatever you want to do within the beauty industry. I personally have mostly stuck with being in the salon and a little bit of travel work. I think personally that when my children get a little bit bigger, I think that I would feel much more comfortable taking on the responsibility of travel. But as of right now, in the era that I'm in my current life, it just does not fit for me, which is fine. Do I enjoy it? Absolutely. But like I said, in my personal era right now, I just don't feel like it's the right time for me to do that, really. But that's okay, you know what I mean? But like I said, why I'm here is that, this job interview just, it really shook me, to be totally honest with you, because I went into it with good intentions. I went into it thinking like I'm going to help, or, I see so many people online, and rightfully so, right? But they're complaining about not having enough clients, feeling like they have enough money or time or energy or all those things. And I feel like I've lived that enough to be able to pass it down to you. Now, I will say specifically, let's just talk about interviewing for a second, because like I said, this interview was absolutely terrible. And it didn't start off that way. This interview was actually in two parts, because I spoke with the recruiter first. Her and I had a great conversation. We were on the phone for like an hour just talking as if we were girlfriends. Like, it just was truly a genuine conversation, and I really vibed with her. And I think that had I been close to the cosmetology school that she was at, the location that she was at, I have no doubt in my mind that I would have been accepted at that location. But what really bothered me was that I showed up to this interview. First of all, they had me sitting there waiting. And mind you, I just want young stylists to know, whether you're young, new, old, whatever, this is a hairstylist conversation. This is for us, by us, okay? And I want you to know that I want you to really think about this as a career, okay? When you really go into this is not just something to do because you feel like it. This is because this is how you're going to feed your family, feed yourself, this is your career. This is your job. And I want you to keep in mind that when you go into an interview, this is a business decision, correct? Because the company needs somebody to fill a spot where they lack, okay? You are someone that possesses a skill that they seek that could potentially fill in that role. So go into it understanding that yes, they need you and you need them. It's a two-way street, okay? I went into it and they had me sitting there waiting, and I'm thinking to myself, you don't value time. Because at this point, I'm just as much as they watch you, you have to watch them too. You have to see how they operate, because if they're already doing these things in an interview, that means that once you get hired on, you go through your onboarding process. This is how this works, okay? Most of the time, they're not going to bait and switch you the way that people think they are. Sometimes, yes, they are really nice in the beginning and then they switch later, and that does happen. But you have to keep your eyes open, okay? And understand that, like I just said, the way that they act during the interview is 9 times out of 10 the way that the job is going to go. So as I'm sitting there waiting and I'm talking to a receptionist, and he just was sweet as pie, and honestly, he's giving me all the information that I should have got from the people that I was interviewing with for whatever reason. And he's telling me, how the flow of the students go. He's telling me how the night shift and the day shift kind of differ. And like I said, he's giving me good information. And they had me sitting here waiting for so long that we had a nice 15-20 minute conversation. At that point in my mind, and I was, interviewing for a afternoon shift. Because, like I said, my salon, I didn't say this. My salon needed money. That was how I was even considering this thing anyway. I wanted to pump some more money into my salon. And so, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. I'm having this conversation. I'm collecting all the infinity stones that I need to. And so I finally, get into the office with the person I'm supposed to be interviewing with, and she is not prepared for me at all. She has my resume in her hands. You can tell she hadn't studied me before. And that's my thing is, just as much as I'm studying your company and how y'all operate and all these things before I walk in here, you should be doing your homework on me as well. My resume is very decorated. That's not to brag. That's just straight up truth. I've been in here 13 years doing this. So there's a lot that I have going on. So she says to me, she's asking me these questions, reading my resume right in front of me, and I said to myself, girl, you're first of all, you already don't value time, because now I've sat here waiting, and you're unorganized. You don't know what questions that you want to ask me, and then ask me about a gap in my resume. The gap in the resume was COVID. So now I'm like kind of questioning your intelligence next, because it was COVID. It literally says March 2020. I ended that position in March 2020. What was going on in March 2020? Somebody, quickly, please. Okay, it was COVID. So I said to myself, oh, this is not going to be good, And at that moment, truly, I should have just gotten up and walked out and said, thank you for your time. This isn't going to fit me, And so I said to myself, well, I had already prepared the presentation like I was supposed to, and so I said I was gonna see this through. So I finally get done with her, and she's asked me the questions that she wants to ask. I ask the questions that I want to ask. It's very important in interviews too, that make sure that you are also asking questions, because this is going to be a place where some of us work 40 hours a week, and if you have children or you have other responsibilities, and this is going to be the place where you are mostly going to be. Of course, not every day is going to necessarily be rainbows and unicorns and sunshines. However, you need to make sure that you are comfortable in this space, that you feel comfortable. That's just the word that I can think of right now. And so I said to myself, this is not going to be good. So part 2, after we had, our conversation, was for me to present, right? It was for me to create a presentation on 2 topics of how, as I would teach students, right? And so I said, well, this is going to be my time to shine. I prepared for this. I had a really good presentation. I felt so good about it. Well, she brings in a second person to interview with me. And this lady was so cold. And I get it, some people are shy. That's one thing that, you know, I feel is a skill that they don't teach us in school, is that being able to read people, whether that's body language, whether it's energy, because sometimes people will say, oh, I love my hair, but their body language is closed off. So in your mind, you think, oh, you know, she loves it and she really doesn't love it. We'll get to people pleasing and all that kind of stuff later. However, so like I said, this lady was so cold. Her energy was so like cut off and shut off. And I said to myself, if this is somebody that I'm going to be working with, and it didn't just give shy. You understand? I think there's a difference between somebody being like introverted and being shy versus just being like aloof and cold. And she was more aloof and cold. And I said to myself, you know, and this lady's over the curriculum. So this is somebody that I'm going to have to work closely with. If she's already can't give me a warm welcome, I'm like, no. You know, like this is just, it's not going to work. Not to be pessimistic, but I just knew that it was not going to work. And I went through my presentation and, you know, it just, I don't know, I think the energy just shifted. You know what I mean? I think that it was very clear that this was not going to be the place for me. And I didn't leave feeling defeated. I think that was the part that really like stuck with me, is I didn't feel like, oh man, you know, I didn't get it. You know, I did feel a little bit of sadness because I knew the vision that I had for that role. And I really wanted to make sure that I had a place that I could share, right? That was the whole point. But then I went home and I sat about it and I thought about it and I said to myself, that's the whole point of me having a cosmetology license, is that I am licensed to create. Literally. I am an artist, as so are you, at heart. We don't need anyone's permission to do what we want to do. That's why a lot of us forewent, at least for me. Well, I ended up going to college later on. But anyway, I think that's why a lot of us dropped the traditional college experience, because we want to be free, right? We don't want to be held down. We don't want to be put into a box. We want to be able to do what it is that we love to do, which is to create. And we do service people. We're very giving people. We are. You know, I had high hopes for that. But after I went and sat back and thought about it, and I said, I don't need anybody's help. You know, I don't need anybody's permission to do this. You know, the same amount of information that I have sat on and the amount of information that I still continue to learn. That's one thing that I truly appreciate about this industry, is that I never stop learning. And that's one thing that I want you to do, regardless if you're just signing up for cosmetology school, you just graduated, you've been in the industry for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 25, 40. Never stop learning. Always keep yourself open to be able to receive information. Okay, so one thing that I can promise you is that I am not going to hold anything back. Okay, this podcast is like about the raw, the ups, the downs, the left, the right. It is about all the things that I personally have been through. I want you guys to share with me what you guys have been through, you know, good and bad. Like, this is for us. Okay, I want to make sure that you follow the Instagram page as well as the TikTok page. I will have that link down in the description box too. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that cute little notification bell. That way you are notified every time that I upload. Okay, I appreciate you guys tuning in and rocking with me. I got really great and warm responses from starting the TikTok page. So I'm very excited for what we have going here. Like I said, I'm going to be answering questions. I'm going to be sharing different salons I've been at. I'm going to show you how to build your business, build your books, and we're going to do this damn thing. Listen, you may be in business for yourself, but you are not by yourself. Okay, so until next time, I'll see you guys later. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to thumbs up the video, and I'll see you later.